Okay, everyone, this is the Koryan versus Jonas exhibition match video. I'm here with Terry Purcell.
Hi, guys.
Is a great Tetris player. He's been to several of the Classic Tetris World Championships in Portland.
But I'm a better fan than I am a player.
Yeah, I think he got... You placed as high as third before.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
But I still think I'm like a diehard fan. This stuff is killer to me. It's so interesting to see people continually get better. And like, as someone who knows how to play, I think there's a lot of subtlety that people miss sometimes in some of these matches. And I can't wait to hopefully see some of it today in this match.
Awesome. Yeah, Terry's the analyst today. And just to give you some context here, we have a player who goes by Koryan. His name's Koji Nishio. And he showed up at the 16 tournament for the first time, and he had a lot of anticipation surrounding him. Okay, there we have an actual screen. It's going to
justifiably so. Even back then, he was still, I believe he had 19 maxed at that point, and he actually ended up playing Jonas, I believe, in the semifinals and losing to Jonas.
Yeah, that year he got, I guess, maybe fourth.
Third. I think he got third because of the score. Yeah.
There's Koji, Koryan.
And he played absolutely incredible.
And
nice shirt.
Behind there, you'll see that's Jonas's wife, Heather, who is a good player in her own right. And then behind there, you'll see in the background with the camera, Trey, who is, of course, our tech director and also a great Tetris player here in the States. So just to provide a little context, a guy reached out to us who had, his name's Dixon Wu, and he runs gaming expos, I guess, around the world, but primarily in Hong Kong. And he wanted to get some classic Tetris action going in Hong Kong as well as Asia in general. I think he has some big plans to expand CTWC Asia, but as just a starting point, he arranged this exhibition match as well as a local tournament in Hong Kong. Okay, so this is going to be a 5-game, a best of 5 exhibition match, and they are starting at 18 for every game. So I'm going to continue to provide some context. So Dixon was kind enough to help cover some of the expenses to get Jonas and Koryan and Trey out there just so they could have this match. So this is our big Japan USA exhibition in Hong Kong. So the reason we're doing this commentary after the fact is because, of course, all the commentary here in Hong Kong was in Chinese. So we wanted to provide some English language commentary, and here we are. So
Let's do it. The thing I noticed already about these matches is, Jonas has a definite style and play that you probably can see when he plays in tournaments, and he's very conservative, but from the get-go, he's taking all kinds of, necessary risks if he's going to try to keep pace with Koryan.
Yeah, I think you'll see the players have an opportunity to play a little more aggressively than you would see them play in Portland. And
Absolutely.
I also think they both know that's
probably a necessity if they're going to compete right now.
Yeah, so it's a lot different than what you're used to seeing in Portland.
Yeah.
I think the stakes are also a little lower.
So people can take some risks that might pay off. But.
And it's a lot of times if Jonas and Koryan were to meet, say, in a semifinal, it would be a best of 3. And even just the fact that it's a best of 3 will change your style of play.
Absolutely.
Because it's almost, the tournament in Portland as it's structured is almost sort of a sudden death level. I mean,
once you lose one game, it's sudden death effectively.
Yeah, so just having that extra opportunities that a best of 5 provides would also change your style of play.
Yeah.
So
yeah, see, like stuff like that, like Jonas normally in a tournament situation would have put that L block, burned at least one line and just stayed safe, but of course he stacks it up super high. It's fascinating to see too when people get really high up there. There are moves to try to dig yourself out effectively that seem counterintuitive at first, but end up working out. Like sometimes Jonas, for instance, will stack 2 blocks on top of an open hole, and it works out for him because he's Jonas, but it also makes sense because you're trying to minimize the number of holes that you actually are creating above the one you have to burn to get out of the situation. Man, these guys just don't make many mistakes to talk about.
Yeah, this so far they're playing really well. They're just Koryan's definitely on a max out pace
for sure.
Jonas just short of what you might consider a max out pace. Generally, you want to be at 200,000 around 50 lines and at about 400,000 at 100 lines to be in a comfortable position to max out. So one thing I want to note is just within the past 6 months, there's been a lot more back and forth on Twitch as far as trying to get 1.2 million with the Game Genie code, trying to get new records on level 19. And so I think both players, Jonas in particular, have been perfecting a high-risk style. So it's really scary that these guys just continue to get better. And I think even though Koryan has yet to win a tournament, he, at times, I think he could lay claim to being the best player on Twitch in terms of the accomplishments he's
and the
making.
sheer number of output. I mean, the guy's playing constantly. He also plays those Sunday tournaments that are, used to be held every third Sunday or whatever. He plays that stuff. He's been trying to get in as many tournaments as possible. And I think that's, obviously a great move for him, because the thing that killed him last time, it wasn't his ability, it was his nerves. And so I think he's going to be a lot stronger this next time.
Now, Terry, would you care to maybe contrast the two styles as far as hyper tapping versus whatever it is that Jonas does so well?
Yeah, so, Jonas, when I want to watch a video to encourage me, it's usually something of his, because he uses a skill set that most people can master. There's nothing that he's doing that's particularly based on hyper tapping, or it's not based on speed. He's just playing with some fundamentally different axioms about building the stack, like where he will burn, how high he'll burn, if he can anticipate a bad situation, tucks, just these kind of things that he sees in a different way. But that is something that you can teach yourself to do. Now, on the other hand, I think that people like Koryan and Thor, of a different generation, are playing absolutely incredible Tetris, but they're relying more on this ability rather than a full understanding of where to put everything. Because they don't have to. Koryan can get out of some crazy shit. Sorry, I cursed. And so he doesn't necessarily need to see the stack in the same way. Also, it's interesting, though, to see that that's kind of what you were describing, that Jonas might be in a new style he's kind of developing and has been developing, is what point is it too much risk? I think he's becoming the best estimator of that in the world, and I think it's easy to say. He's got the best understanding of just how far you can push the game within a mortal limit and get away with it. Is that? Maybe I thought too much about that, but he is absolutely on a different level sometimes. He understands it in a very fundamental way that I'm very impressed with, and it's always fun to watch.
Yeah, by the way, we are, we were neck and neck. We
transitioned, yeah.
And we are back with each player being on a max out pace, so despite whatever jet lag they might be experiencing here, or just the fatigue of travel, they seem to be on point, playing.
They do, they seem to be great right now. And the other thing is, I don't think either one of them would have, I know jet lag is something you can't totally control, but I know Jonas would have prepared for this. He and Koryan would have prepared for it as well. They knew what they were getting into. They were totally prepared for this. I can't help but think, I can't help but think that they're consummate, competitors.
Yeah, well, and I had joked, because I was watching this at the time that it happened, and I was saying, hey, this is an opportunity for Koryan, because in this case, Jonas would be the more jet-lagged one. Whereas, I don't know if...
normally Koryan's in the opposite position.
Yeah, if you've never flown overseas, especially from Japan to the U.S., that's just brutal. It really messes you up, and weird things happen. People sleepwalk, people pass out, it really is a shock to your system.
Yeah.
Of course, some people have an easier time acclimating than others, but I know that because you also are running off. Oh, there was a bad misdrop by Koryan, and he's got a little bit of a mess.
Burn it. Yeah. Oh, he'll probably get out of it. Damn. Well done.
And he had some favorable.
I think he planned it
right there.
I think he planned it that way. Oh, flip that, Koryan.
So both
Give the
players
square
dealing with a
hole.
little adversity. It's important to note that the players, this is just plain NES carts, so there's no, they do have different pieces. But the level they play at, you know, it takes really severe droughts to kill these guys, so it doesn't necessarily matter that much.
This drop by Jonas probably cost them this one. Damn.
Yeah, he's been just trying to stay alive here for a while.
And I don't want to be too schadenfreude about this, but like, it makes me kind of happy to see Jonas squirm because he's still as good. Like, it's very fun to watch him struggle because that's not something we normally see during his tournament play or online or anything. But it just shows a different part of his skill set. God. Koryan's perfect, man.
Ooh.
See that right there, that last little flip before Koryan won the match, that's something that people like us don't try to pull off just because of the sheer risk factor that he just gets away with, and it's beautiful to watch. It's so fun.
Yeah, no, you know, Jonas was struggling up there pretty high for a pretty long time, and Koryan was stand clean. So that was an edge to Koryan. He, right off the bat, out of the gate with a 900 plus. And if you'll recall, I don't know if we've ever even seen a 900,000 point score live in Portland.
We have one. I think Ben Mullen has a 933.
I would just want to put an asterisk on that because I think that the match, that particular game within the match was already won.
Oh, was it decided?
And he
that
kept going because he was on a max out pace.
Yeah, that's a good
and
point.
that's something we need to clarify at the Portland tournament is, are we going to allow that or not?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, Koryan is up 1-0, and Jonas is in good spirits. He seems to be embracing the challenge. Because, yeah, from what you see online, Koryan and Jonas both could, you know, put down 900,000 point scores one after another. So you got to keep your foot on the gas and continue to try to score as high as possible. Another thing I wanted to mention is, well, hold that thought. We should probably try to commentate more on the match itself.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's my bad as well.
Yeah, the thing about watching Koryan play too is he doesn't get himself into a lot of trouble when he has to rely on hyper tapping though. Like, that's a big skill. I mean, I know he's, you know, his high score is kind of dependent on it in one way, but he also doesn't put himself in a situation where he has to rely on it very often. Like, he's doing beautifully right now. That's rare, okay.
And I have heard Jonas mention that he, in Portland, at least as of the last time I heard him talk about it, he won't try to set up as many tucks. Any kind of play that he'll consider to be a higher risk of getting a misdrop, he'll avoid. But it's fun to see him in this match. You know, he's got the full arsenal. He's not really holding back.
He's putting the foot down a little bit. God, and Koryan though, like, the other thing I don't think people appreciate too much is think about all the other people that we know that play consistently in the tournament that took a long time to get to this point. Like Koryan, I know he played other types of Tetris ahead of time before this, but he really took to this with like a vengeance. And like, you're right, I think he would have a legitimate case if he said he was the best player right now. I can't wait for the tournament for just that reason. I hope they get to play each other. It'd be so fun to watch.
Ooh, it's a tough spot of the, but that's the trick, is you get a double well going. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and both players once again on a max out pace.
See, Koryan got lucky on that, stacking that 3 only hole on the left.
Yeah, and these not much drama here when both guys are playing pretty perfectly. And Tetris for Jonas. In this particular feed, we're not getting the flashing light on the Tetrises, which is always a disappointment. But with the tech stuff, it's always hard to get everything. Now Koryan has. See, I find that interesting because Koryan had the bad well on the left, and he went ahead and took the Tetris. So that's still, you just almost always just take the Tetris. Now look, now Jonas has some real mess, and he just sort of jammed whatever he could in that crevice he made, and you know, he'll be fine. But you know, that's what people realize is that when you get into, as you can see, you know, he doesn't have a Tetris set up, he's got a mess. That can be 50,000, 100,000 points that you're losing.
Yeah.
And so one little mistake.
Man, this is beautiful though. He is setting it up for a Tetris. Let's see if it pays off.
Well, and that gets into what Jonas calls a dirty Tetris.
Yeah.
Is when you clean with Tetrises, you build Tetrises on top of junk, which is another
Great
what we might
idea.
consider an aggressive move.
Yeah. There we go. Damn, this is great. Those dirty Tetrises, there was a young kid that played in the Finnish tournament who was really surprising. I don't know his name, but he was doing that all the way down when he would burn. He was kind of building those dirty Tetrises and moving his well all over. It was pretty interesting. And I think Yanni beat him, but for the championship, but I believe that like he put a really good effort in. Yeah. I like that concept of the dirty Tetris as you go down.
Yeah, so NES Tetris came out in 1989, and I think now we're starting to have a lot of really young players, like players who were born, 20 years later, or people born in the 2000s who are picking it up. So that's really interesting. That's not something we really anticipated, but that's really
a large number of kids though that have just stepped into it and have taken to it with reckless abandon, and they're killing it.
Yeah, they have, now that they have this wealth of tape to watch and learn from. So, okay, by the way, we're definitely at max out pace. We're neck and neck. And it's incredible how close these guys have been considering they're not getting the same piece sets. I mean, that's just showing how dominant they both are, how much they've just completely mastered this game.
Jonas lucked out there with that one. Interesting.
And yeah, Koryan's getting into
there you go.
A little bit of a messy situation.
Right before the transition, too.
Yeah, he's in trouble because, well, for a normal player that isn't an expert hyper tapper, this would be a disaster because he's way too high.
Oh, he's out of it now.
About to,
check that out.
Yeah. It just, in time, he got some really, but then that was a misdrop, but he tucked it. And he, nice spin there.
Nice. Jonas has transitioned. This is a pretty damn close one, actually.
Yeah, Jonas has a bit of an edge now because he's not cleaning. He has an opportunity to score Tetris right now and take probably about a 2 Tetris lead. Boom. And as you see, Koryan's about to tidy it up here, but he's still been not Tetrising here for quite a while. And there's another one for Jonas. So now Jonas has come out to a 75,000 point lead around there. Oh, and Koryan's back on track with a really clean wall. And Koryan does have a very serious look when he plays, but he's a sweetheart. You can't let that fool you. And boom, Tetris for Koryan. Closing the gap slightly, but Jonas is still in position to Tetris.
Nice.
Yeah, just solid play. Both locked in. And see, Jonas just had opportunity to complete his Tetris wall with a long bar, and he chose not to because he doesn't want to create that barrier to burning. And that's one of those next level moves where you sort of show that reserve to wait to set up the Tetris because you don't want to put yourself in a position that can kill you.
Man, that's good. I'm going to take that down. Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great rule, man.
I mean,
maybe I'll write that down.
It's rare. I mean, you see players, a lot of times you're just desperate to complete your Tetris wall. Oh, and Koryan's in trouble. But that, you see all he hyper tapped those. That's a hyper tap.
That'll get you out a lot of spots.
I mean, so right there, any other player who's not a tapper would be dead by now.
And he missed.
Oh.
He got.
See?
Oh my.
Wow. And then Jonas tops
Koryan.
out. And nope.
Damn.
They were both clawing their way out at the same time, but at that point Jonas had about 100,000 point lead. So good job. That makes it 1-1. And we're not talking 900,000 point scores, but we're talking 8 something versus 700. So
One thing I did notice. Jonas did have a few misdrops in that game. I wonder, this is kind of a new level of nerves probably for him, because he knows his competition is well capable of beating him on and this is a different stage. It's not his hometown or home country. I think you can see some of his nerves a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a interesting thing to speculate on. I mean, I think it's hard to imagine anything being much more intense than the Portland tournament.
That's true.
Particularly because you have Chris Tang just yelling, and you have the
crowd, the lights,
crowd,
the sound in the room,
lots of even heckling, and then not to mention you're in
Quaid.
this busy. Well, people who aren't there don't realize. I mean, it's actually
it's a spectacle.
300, 400, 500 people.
Yeah,
I don't know,
absolutely.
depending on the year. So I don't think this compares. This doesn't appear like they have a gigantic crowd, and there is live commentary, but it's probably a bit more mellow than what would be happening in Portland. So, and I think there was some really minor technical difficulties, but take heart. They do get solved quickly whenever they occur. And by the way, I want to say I do want to say thanks to the crew in Hong Kong who just did a fantastic job on short notice to approximate our projection, which we didn't. Trey didn't bring out his stuff. They just figured it out. So, great work. Yeah, you see Jonas did a good job to give up on that situation right away. It was getting ugly, and he
knew it and
just covered up the gap and cutting your losses is. Oh, and now he's really
kind of skill set. He can get out of this.
He'll get out of it, but it's a kind of rocky start. It's kind of frustrating. You can see he's shaking his head. It's not about on the level that Jonas plays. You're not worried that you're going to die necessarily, but you're
was actually pretty
points.
close. As soon as I said he was going to make it, it looked pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it wasn't good, and as you can see, Koryan's out to a huge lead as a result, and Jonas is still fighting to just stay alive.
That's a hard one. There you go. Yeah, the thing, that's one of the things about the tournament that you've seen, as it's progressed, people get more and more consistent. People don't necessarily get better in a lot of ways. They just learn how to control their nerves or the situation, and they just become more consistent. This is a model of that. So if you take, 30 lines to clean up an accident, that's probably the game. It almost seems like it's getting to that point, at least, where it's that competitive.
Yeah, in that sort of top tier, the sort of, I'd say, I kind of break the players up into 3 tiers. There's players like Koryan and Jonas who have a chance to win, and I think that's a group about maybe 8 to 10 people.
I was going to say 3 to 5, but okay.
Who have a chance. I mean, I'm not saying that they have a good chance, but players who have shown that they can compete at that level. Which would be people like obviously Alex and Harry and Buko and.
What's weird about them too is Alex, for instance. He doesn't even have a lot of records on the forums online and stuff, but every time he comes and plays, he kills it. You know what I mean? It's it's a completely, it's like a superpower almost. That nerve, it's awesome.
Well, in Alex's case, it also comes from competing in other kinds of
Jonas.
Gaming tournaments. So, and I think that. I'm not really sure. I know Koryan, I don't know if he's competitive in other games. I know he, does something with Sonic the Hedgehog games, and he obviously is a Tetris Grandmaster, and he's a high-level Tetris Grandmaster. I mean, I should probably get his stats on that. I know he's a 1 and 2. I don't know if he ever Grandmastered 3, but I'm assuming he has. Nice. Little S-spin.
Actually, yeah. Ooh, nice.
Okay, as you can see, Jonas is still
That's a rough piece for Koryan.
a good 90,000 points behind, so he's still.
Koryan's in a pretty ugly pickle.
Yeah, this is Jonas's chance to cover some
Make
ground.
some ground.
Although it looks like Koryan's gonna have this cleaned up.
Well done.
So, you know, I guess at this point it is effectively a best of 3. And now if you lose one, you're up against the wall here. So this is a really important game. If this was like a NBA or NHL series, this would be the first really critical. And nice. See, I like that again. He used the long bar not to complete his Tetris wall. He waited for the T piece to complete the Tetris wall so that he would still have a good stack.
Oh.
Yeah,
That was a situation where Koryan was
he got
relying on his get out of jail free card.
He got a little too fancy trying to tuck that, and it didn't happen. And as you can see, Jonas has closed the gap here, 388 to 404. They got 22 lines of transition. Jonas is completely clean, and Koryan is just...
Koryan's in a... he's...
And Jonas could not get the long bar over.
No way. That's
he
crazy.
laughs it off, but that's a bummer.
Koryan was about to dig out of that, though, anyway, and he was still ahead. Damn.
Jonas lost DAS on that because that is a piece he can get over if he has his DAS. So a lot of times it happens when you're right up near the top. Because you're playing frantically, it actually makes it harder to keep DAS sometimes.
The other thing that people don't think about, too, is like, when you're even playing on 19, to learn the timing for your fingers to get DAS, like when you charge against the wall or a block on the screen, you have, like 3 times as much time if you're playing at the bottom of the screen. And so if you're on 19 trying to dig yourself out at the top, you're not even fully recognizing some of the moves you make, you know what I mean? And that's one of the funnest things I think about Tetris, to be honest, but it's something that if you can do in a tournament to actually save your life is very impressive.
Well, in that instance where Jonas lost DAS and it cost him the game is, to some extent, the outcome of aggressive play, because I think that if you had seen him at the Portland tournament, he might have chosen to burn earlier and not get that high. And Jonas is down. If he loses this game, he does lose the match. And right away, he fixes the problem with a sweet little Z-spin.
Now that little tuck there was absolutely beautiful if he could pull it off. Yeah, he's finding himself in a lot more trouble than I've ever seen him in a tournament before, which is more fun to watch, I think, sometimes as a spectator. But
well, now he's got an ugly long bar well on the left side.
And you always go with the Tetris.
Yep, you always take Tetris anyway. He gives up on it. He knows that this is his last chance. He can't get too
attached to trying to get that filled.
Yeah, just have to. So there he goes. He's back in business, and Koryan, his wall is featuring some separation here, but there he goes.
Cleaned up as well.
And neither player is on an incredible pace, but both playing solid so far. And it'll be interesting to see, will the players tighten up a little bit as we get closer to the end of the match. So far, it has been pretty all out. And yeah, we did see the rare occurrence.
Oh, those are 2 unfortunate pieces for Jonas. That's wise. Well done. And again, he was in such dire circumstances. I believe he put that J or L piece in a awkward position to make a hole just to try to ensure that he was going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a tough spot there.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Jonas.
No, but you see, he's built a Tetris out of it, and he's going to push
Tetris.
it. He pushes it. And Koryan is shaking his head, but he gets out of his problem pretty easily as well. Yeah, and you'll see more and more people starting to do those little last-minute corrections.
Yeah, those are fun to see when you accommodate the next piece at the last minute. which is actually
Well done,
harder than it looks sometimes.
Yeah.
Tetris for Koryan. He's ahead by almost, well, about 70, 80,000 points. And Jonas actually has more lines because Jonas has been higher. So Jonas is in pretty bad shape right now.
Clears as well again. He's ready for Tetris at least.
Tetris
but
for
still
Koryan.
back by a bunch.
All right, well, those players back in business.
Hell yeah. So fun to watch how quickly they clean up a lot of the messes as well.
And Jonas gets a nose wipe in while Tetrising. That is one of the funny things about this game is one of the only times where you can relax is when you're about to score Tetris because you can just jam the long bar in there. Now that was a crazy flip. I don't know what Koryan was even doing with that
I don't
flip,
either.
but it looked neat.
I'll go back and watch it again later.
Yeah,
Maybe I missed something. He might have just looked over for a second to get a score and kind of lost his place or something.
Yeah, I think that he was just about to mess up and fixed it.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a strategy to that flip. Tetris for Jonas. And you're still lagging behind by about 50,000 points. Oh, that Tetris closed the gap a little. Koryan's been waiting for a long bar for a second. Gets it right there, no problem. So
I can't wait to see, you know, that if these guys get to play in the tournament, I can't wait to see it with same pieces as well.
yeah, and that is interesting because last year we did see some droughts in Portland that were really intense, and you know the player that was playing a little more conservatively got that victory. So that's an interesting dynamic, but there's only a very small handful of players that can almost survive anything, and these are two of those guys. So playing the sort of possum, you know, and just hoping that the other player messes up won't work.
Not going to work for very long.
In this match. So it looks like neither of them is quite on what we consider a max out pace, although it's possible. But solid scores, solid competition scores. Well, I guess it looks like Koryan might get there.
About to transition in a pretty good situation, as long as he doesn't try to do that.
Jonas could have built the Tetris of that long bar, but he chose to just go ahead and transition with a safe situation.
See, again, I feel awkward sometimes, though, commentating on a player like Koryan's game because, I mean, honestly, the style in which he plays, he's going to have a much richer or more nuanced, I guess, understanding of why he does things. And it's really interesting to me as a fan and a commentator sometimes is like to try to figure out those new ideas or new, new ideas of how to play based on like that skill set that is kind of, it's fairly new, right? People haven't really been using it too much in the tournament for very long or anything like that.
Well, I have noticed that Koryan, and all the people that come from a grandmaster tradition have some slightly different tendencies, but it's just very subtle. I think they're better at kind of piling up pieces in the middle when things are going wrong.
Okay.
Which Alex told me is from TGM.
Got it.
But
they don't have like the piece lock right away, right? Don't they? Can't you float a piece above for a while before it actually finds a home?
Correct.
Okay.
It doesn't lock right away, so they can kind of still
off
scoot
with
it
it for a
around.
while. Okay.
Even though it appears to be hitting the stack instantly.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because then right there, my tendency would have been to put that T piece far to the left, but he just kind of let it plop down in the middle of the board, Maybe that is it.
Well, also in the games like Tetris Friends, where you're just trying to break speed records and stuff, just putting a piece straight down in the center is actually the fastest move. So I think that's why some people develop that habit.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah,
Nice. I cannot believe Koryan got that. He tucked an L or some piece at the very top and barely scooted the line piece in to dig himself out of a hole he probably couldn't have survived otherwise. Well done, Koryan.
Yeah, he's been playing right there in the middle, and like I said, for most non-hyper tapping players, the middle
is kind of a no-no.
Where you see the verses in the middle of the screen is kind of the highest you want to be. And he's able to go a good 3-4 cells above that.
Seemingly pretty comfortably, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he had at one point his Tetris stack was really more like a level 18 style Tetris stack, but he does that all the time, so. And it does, that's the thing, is if both players don't, meet up with any real bad fortune, Koryan will have a scoring
Koryan's
advantage.
doing something here. He's not sure if he's trying to clear it out or almost looked like for a second he was trying to build up a strange Tetris. I like this one. Ooh, yes, ooh, yes. Give the man a bone. There you go. Yes.
Okay, and Jonas is about to hit a kill screen here. He's only got 4 lines. Well, they both have 4 lines left.
Oh my God, this is so close.
20,000 point game. So
Koryan
Jonas
is hoping for it.
he got his last Tetris. And he got 1 line in level 29, 887. Koryan.
Oh! Koryan misdropped that very last line piece. Reminiscent of kind of how he misdropped against Alex.
Wow, that's tough to even keep up with.
Man.
But Jonas, I think the tail of the tape is Jonas got his last Tetris. He had 1 line left before he hit the
had
kill
to wait
screen.
for it. Oh my God, that's beautiful.
And he did get his long bar, and that put him over the top, and Koryan could not eke out another Tetris. So that was really close.
Koryan had he had a triple at least at the very end there that would have scored him probably 8,000 points, but he had potential to keep playing for a line or two probably. How close was that one at the very end there?
It was just about 1 Tetris apart.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So it is 2-2. So this is the end. This is game 5 of the exhibition, the epic Japan versus USA Hong Kong exhibition. Now it will come to 1 game. As you can see, it seems like they're starting to get a little more of an audience. People aren't familiar with this over there. I mean, obviously they probably know what Tetris is. In fact, I heard that in Hong Kong, Tetris is called the Russian block game. So I don't know if that sounds cool when you say it in Chinese. It sounds kind of silly, but they know of Tetris, of course, and there were players there who were good Tetris players in other styles who did pretty well, actually.
I believe the video we have before this was like the locals playing as well, right?
Yeah,
there were a handful of people actually who were really good.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, and they seemed to get a kick out of it, so they had fun, and hopefully, we could see that if they continue doing it here at this expo. I forget the name of the expo, but it's obviously a large gaming expo, Who knows, maybe people will pick it up.
I'm hoping that happens, honestly. And the other thing, we were talking about this a while ago, is these kind of videos that people can watch now and use as a resource didn't exist for us when we were kids, and I can't wait to see what kind of improvement the new generation can make by taking what we already know and trying to push it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, we're already seeing that. As of this taping, there's a young man, I think his name's Jason Salih. I may be pronouncing that wrong. I apologize if so, but he just broke the world record for lines, as I think he's a teenager still. So that's a new development. He just picked it up within the past year, and I mean, he's doing amazing things with hyper tapping. So check him out on Twitch. It's really cool. And yeah, we're starting off with quite a really high wall by Koryan. No fear, he's just going for it.
He's going for it, yeah.
The classic little S burn there.
Jonas got kind of lucky there for 1 sec.
All right, so neck and neck. And you can see both guys are still completely locked in. They've already played a lot of Tetris. It's been going at it for almost 30 minutes here. And it does take some mental endurance. And remember, as easy as they make it look, it's still a 1 mistake situation here.
Yeah.
As you saw, Jonas lost his DAS on that long bar in that 1 match, and it was instantly over. So that's always a possibility. So you have to have 100% focus every second. And, yep.
Man, these guys are just killing it. They are both on great pace. It's also interesting, from my perspective, to see like foot on the gas the entire game. It's so fun to watch, you know. This has been incredible. Like,
yeah, it's
the only time they take their foot off the gas is if they're going to die.
Exactly. Yeah, and even trying to clean with Tetrises sometimes.
Yeah, it's been beautiful to watch.
And they've both proven that they're not giving the other person any choice because
if you want to keep up, you got to take the same risks.
And you see, like, Koryan's in a little bit of a wacky situation right now, and you know, we'll see how. Right now they're neck and neck. We'll see if he can get out of it in time before Jonas starts taking advantage and building a lead here.
Jonas is he fixed that. See, yeah, that's like right there is an opportune time for Koryan maybe to try to like build another Tetris above it. I just think that like after seeing some other people do it better than I have, I think it's a very intriguing idea that people should maybe start trying. Especially on 18 speed where it's like not really fast, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's very situational. I think we saw in the 17 championship that Jonas was behind against Alex in game 1 of the finals and brought a level of play to come back in that game that no one had really seen live before, because, you know, he had no other way to win. And so I think players are going to
have to start doing that maybe more and more, to be honest, to be competitive.
Yeah, it's going to come up more, and I mean, you're going to see it'll also kill people.
I love it though. It'll kill me, man. I'm down. But it'll work out once in a while, and that's so worth it. So these guys are actually, I mean, Koryan has taken a slight dip.
Jonas has an incredible score going. To be at 400 at 90 lines, that's pretty momentous. You'll recall that 400 at 100 lines is your max out pace. So he's in a more than max out pace right now. But Koryan is hanging in there, and he's not out of this yet. We're still about 25 lines from a transition, and obviously, you can see Koryan, he's just super clean. Opts to burn that T. That was like the smallest, tiniest mini drop. Nothing to stop Koryan. And Jonas is able to build a Tetris. He's ran into a little bit of trouble, but still has a pretty amazing score.
Koryan's just chugging along.
Another Tetris for Jonas.
It's an interesting thing when we're not remarking on Koryan's very good like tournament pace, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, Jonas right now is like
he's killing
just epic. Yeah. To be a 600,000 point transition in a tournament play is pretty unheard of. It's pretty uncommon. And he transitions with exactly a 599, and now Koryan with a 490. So Koryan goes into the transition with over 100,000 point deficit. That's really interesting. So we're going to have to see Koryan. You know, at this point, he's up against the wall. He's got to play with everything he's got.
We're going to also see whether or not Jonas takes takes the gas or his foot off the gas pedal, because he may think he's safe a little bit. But that's served him in the past, but I don't know if he should do it now, you know.
Yeah, I think it would make sense to play a little more conservatively if you're Jonas. As we see, we're still at about a 90,000 point difference. And Jonas is getting droughted a bit, not too bad. Oh, and he lost Das. That was very unfortunate. That actually lost him. And you see him shaking his head because that's a very uncommon misdrop there for Jonas.
Yeah.
If you watch him play in his Twitch stream, you know, he doesn't, that was an easy play. And it's just, you know, a little glitch with your fingers can cause that. But yep, cool. Well, partly because of that misdrop of losing Das on that long bar, it's now 50,000 points. Look at that wall by Koryan, it's perfect.
Jonas kind of fought his way back there. Ooh, that's an interesting, nice, good tuck and spin by Jonas there.
Yeah, now in Koryan's mind, he knows he's still, even though he's got it down to about 40,000 points,
He's still in this game. He knows.
But he's not settling for.
Yeah, not playing safe.
Really, he's been on a long streak here of getting almost all Tetrises.
See that move right there, like that. Some people could do that potentially. Not that one. Man, nice. And of course he doesn't burn it because he doesn't need to.
And now Jonas in a bit of trouble. We got a little bit of a sloppy thing going on, and Koryan's just firing away here. So
Koryan looking good.
still 40,000 point differential. They have the same number of lines. And as we get further into the 19th speed, these Tetrises are worth more and more. I mean, a Tetris at this point is worth close to 30,000 points. Oh,
Nice play on Jonas's part there to keep that.
I mean, Koryan has an incredible streak going.
Yeah.
But now they're both clean. And now we're neck and neck.
Jesus.
And boom, Koryan takes the lead, 20,000 point lead. So just with a little bit of cleaning Jonas has had to do, just open up the door slightly. And now Koryan's up by 50, 60,000. We only have about 13 lines left. And Koryan just hits another Tetris.
This is a max outable game as well. And not
just,
only because of the point we're in the game, but
Koryan
he's playing like he wants to max it out.
He needs one more Tetris and chains to get a match out. And oh,
Are you kidding
but Jonas
me?
gets a Tetris. Jonas only has 3 lines left.
Oh.
He has an opportunity to build one more Tetris. Koryan gets the long
Koryan's
bar
going
and he
for it. Are you
maxes
kidding
out.
me? Well
And he
done.
holds up the fist in triumph. And
Oh my God.
Jonas never got his final long bar there and did not get his last Tetris, but it wouldn't have.
He would have lost by a Tetris still. That was incredible.
If he could have gotten that long bar, he would have exceeded 950, I think.
Yeah, he was
So-
whatever. Yeah, he would still be a Tetris short of winning. My goodness, though.
不如都係咁以訪問下佢哋啦。So
睇下佢哋。
so Jonas, what did you think about the game?
That was scary, competitive. It was Koji to max out in competition. That's the first one in a kind of a live competition associated with the CTWC. So that was history right there. The scores, again, that combined score was the biggest. I was looking over at his screen and I saw that it was close, and yeah, that was amazing.
咁咧，Jonas 就話咧，其實喺一個現場嘅賽事入邊咧，係應該係第一次有呢一個max out 呢個情況啊。咁咧就同埋佢哋兩個加埋嘅總分應該都係呢個世界賽入邊最高嘅一次啊。咁所以呢個真係值得俾啲掌聲佢哋。
冇試過之前真係喺香港度誕生咗
咁我哋
呢個成績。
都同日本嘅神人傾下先。So Koji-san, excited? What do you think?
Yeah. Amazing, amazing feeling.
所以咧即係喺屋企嘅時候咧，佢哋應該 max out 個 score 就當食菜咁噶啦。咁但係即係嚟到現場有觀眾，又有音響，又成嗰個情況就確實係有少少唔同咗嘅。咁所以咧，我哋都真係好榮幸可以見得到啊。So you win the challenge. So congratulations.
俾多啲掌聲，多謝晒，同埋遠道而嚟喺美國遠道嚟嘅 Jonas。唔該晒。
Yeah, good job. Congrats to Koryan and Jonas for putting on such a good display. And that was really, the point was to make a great impression and showcase Classic Tetris for the expo. And I think even some esports, committee or something was there to check it out. So hopefully they were able to realize how great Classic Tetris is. And we'll have more Hong Kong events. That'd be really exciting.
Absolutely.
And thanks. You saw Dixon Wu in there. He was the one kind of interviewing them at the end. So thanks, Dixon. We appreciate it. And yeah, I guess now it's just Jonas's chance to get his revenge in October. All right. Well, thanks, Terry, for doing this.
Thank you
and
for having me.
everyone, keep a lookout. We've got some more YouTube videos coming out from all these satellites that have been happening. So some fun stuff there. And beyond that, we'll see you in October.